the drama drop, because somebody has to talk about it.
Welcome back to the Drama Drop. Grab your favorite dirty soda and snack. Super Bowl week has arrived. Season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives dropped last week, and there is tons to unpack. I'm seriously so excited. I have been waiting for forever the moment that I knew season 4 was going to drop. I've marked my calendar, said I have no plans. I'm ready to watch. So I'm so excited to talk about this with you guys. I hope you guys are excited too. Before I get into the first 2 episodes that are of the season, let's, take it back a little bit, kind of dive into the history where we left off with season 3. So season 3 was all over the place, such a chaos with drama and messiness. We were diving more into the girls' lives that are not Taylor. It was very clear that she was the forefront for seasons 1 and 2. So I feel like season 3 really opened up the other girls' stories and everything that they were going through. So, with season 3, we left off with Jordan and Jessi and their marriage being on the rocks. The future was uncertain. It was very clear that there was a lot going on that was trying to be hidden and, given to the public as a different perception of everything was really great. And we were really able to see the vulnerability of, oh, their marriage isn't so great. So we just were not sure on how that was going to go. And also, too, we left off with Chase and Taylor and their coffee date. You see it with Chase apologizing for the past hurt and the awkwardness. He hints that maybe he has interest more than friends. And I'll take it back even further because this part didn't really necessarily, make the prior seasons. This is kind of what led to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives even becoming a thing. Taylor and her ex-husband, they were in, soft swinging. And in that group was Chase and Miranda. Well, of course, something, that never goes well. And Chase caught feelings for Taylor. So there was just a lot of unfinished emotional history that I think he wanted to address, at least apologize and kind of clear the air, but also maybe test the chemistry between them. I don't know. Like, it was left on a cliffhanger. So the season 4, it did not waste any time kind of picking that right back up, which I so appreciate. It opens up with Chase. He's at Taylor's house helping him move and make TikToks. So it kind of builds from season 3, which I just want to say really quick. It's so funny when you're watching these scenes go on and it's like, oh, I remember in real time, like watching these TikToks that are happening. I remember, it's like the trend. It's like, oh, it's really nice to meet you, whatever. And it pans to 2 different people. And I mean, it mentions it in the show, but, Taylor saying it's like, yeah, we like to, just kind of do a little bit of rage baiting, saying that our exes did this trend first. But it's just so funny because I just remember seeing it on TikTok as it's happening and being like, oh, what's going on? And then to see it on the other lens of it with the show is really fun. But anyway, so that's where the season opens up. So Taylor, her main motive is she wants to move. Okay. She needs a fresh start post Dakota. Like, that space that she's in was shared with Dakota. There's a lot of memories. That's when, she was pregnant, had her baby and all of that. So she's really wanting to just move on from him. Poor girl cannot shake Dakota whatsoever. So we're kind of just getting in the lens of that's her theme of shedding Dakota. I love it because the producers, in the little confessionals asked Chase, like, all right, like, what are we thinking? Like, would you date Taylor? It's just funny. He's like, yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat. Taylor's not reciprocating, but she definitely plays into it. I think, it's fun to like have somebody to flirt with. So it's like she knows that he has interest. She would never. So that door is just not open for her, but it's just kind of funny to see Chase try and like test that out. However, it's not the greatest that they went on this coffee dinner date. I guess it started off as coffee, led to dinner. In Taylor's view, like, it was nothing romantic, but word got around. I mean, people found out about it, and Layla, she wastes no time telling Miranda about this whole Chase and Taylor date, if you will. And so, like I said, Miranda and Chase, they were once previously married. And, Miranda learning this news, she's so upset. It brings up past wounds, reopens just all the hurt that was in the past because, Miranda and Taylor, like they were really close friends. So when all this soft swinging scandal was busted wide open, everybody finding out and learning that Chase started to develop feelings for Taylor, like obviously that caused a huge friendship rift and a lot of trust was broken and, they worked really hard to rebuild that. So I feel like for her, it's such a slap in the face to learn, oh, okay, we were able to move past this. You were so sorry. Now you're going and having coffee and dinner with my ex-husband. And I think, yeah, it was really sad to see her just be really sad about it. And but she's definitely not one to just let it go under the rug. So she'll definitely bring that up. And I thought that was one thing I do appreciate about Miranda is I feel like she's seems to be the most emotional, level-headed person on the show. And, she obviously felt her feelings with it as she should, but she also wasn't going to make like a huge spectacle of it. She was like, okay, I know I'm going to see Taylor. Like, I'm going to confront her and ask her about this directly versus just assuming and, I don't know, just maybe just talking about it and not directly to her and making her even more emotional, more upset, making it more dramatic. But, yeah, so I can appreciate that with Miranda. And when she does this at the Sip and See. So Michaela, Macy, Jen, they've all had their babies relatively around the same time. And so they're throwing a party. They call it Sip and See, which I had never heard of before, but I feel like that is the cutest thing ever. So it's like a little tea party, maybe coffee, if you will, but I don't know if they were drinking coffee, but sip and see. And then it's like, okay, sip. And then you see, the newborns. I'm sure you could probably do that with almost anything, but I feel like that was so cute. So it's kind of just like a party of like, okay, here's our babies, like come say hi, a fun little party. So I thought that was adorable. I had never heard of that until now. So like I said, those three girls, they just recently had a baby, not too far from each other, and they're having this party. Obviously, all the girls are going to go. So Miranda uses that opportunity to confront Taylor directly again, which I can appreciate. She's not stewing in it. She's like, I'm just going to ask her, like, what was up with you and Chase? Like, what was that? Like, I thought he was just like apologizing. Like, I didn't know it was a whole date, a whole shebang, like what was going on. But I mean, Taylor was very quick to say, like, nothing romantic happened. It was just an apology. We ended on good terms. Um, so, it was not anything that was going to be any further of an issue. Miranda was very appreciative of her answering her questions and like, oh, okay, like that makes sense, like things can get misconstrued. Um, so I think that was pretty much like very level and it was okay. So yeah, I just hope, that was actually the case. There's just so much. I don't know. It's hard whenever there's history. And also too, Chase is a really flirty guy. So you never really know. Like, is he just doing it to just get a rise out of people? Is that truly what he's thinking? I don't know. It's so much, but I'm here for it. I love it. But trust me, they are not the only ones with relationship drama by any means because our lovely and Jessi and Jordan, um, they, God bless them. And I really do appreciate this. They are working really hard to make their marriage work. They are very much still in therapy. However, there are frequent fights that are happening. We learned that Jessi is staying at hotels pretty frequently because they just can't bear to be in the same room, same house even. There's lots of fights going on. I think, there's just a lot of, you know, you learn in society that a man is supposed to be just like the breadwinner, the head of the household, the one being the protector, provider, all of that stuff. Obviously, times are a little bit different and like women can go out and be successful. I mean, doesn't mean to say that both of them can't be successful, but I think with Jessi and her business being so successful and now she has Mom Talk, that's added business. There's just so many opportunities that she's getting that it turns to her to really be the breadwinner. I think it just can really become like an insecurity, not just for Jordan, but for any man. I feel like it's just what's in their makeup to be like, I'm the one that's going to provide. And, ultimately that just causes so many rifts in the relationship and just a lot of problems. And it's clear that that's not just going away. And, Jessi does make a good point. Like, it's not going to just be fixed overnight. Like, there is going to be a lot of work going on with that. And all I can say is that I do appreciate that, that they are working really hard to figure that out and make sure that, if they choose to not be together, like they've reached every single avenue as possible to make sure that their marriage can work. But I will say, this is where it gets a little like, okay, what's going on? Because Jordan, sorry, who is now the self-proclaimed leader of DadTok, he tells Jessi that DadTok got invited to the Vanderpump Villa. Okay, so that's huge red flag for me. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, that does not sound good at all. And we're gonna take it back a little bit, okay? Because we need to understand the lore of Vanderpump Villa and why just DadTok going to DadTok going to Vanderpump Villa is a huge deal. Because that is where all of the chaos stems from between Jessi and her marriage and Jessi and Demi. Because just so much has happened. Unfortunately, we'll never fully know. I kind of wish Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was filming while they were there. But if we don't know, if we do, I'm going to refresh it. But if we don't know, Marciano, okay? He was a staff member that worked at Vanderpump Villa. He got really close to both married women, Demi and Jessi, and he just served, more than drinks. Like, there was so much rumors going around between Jessi and Marciano, them, hooking up, and now there's stuff with Marciano and Demi. There's so many rumors, and but to Jessi's credit, like, she admitted, like, okay, yeah, like, I ended up having an emotional affair with him. I was not happy in my marriage whatsoever. Things were not good, but she really owned up to that. But this just caused a lot of issues in everybody's relationships, Demi and Jessi's friendship and Jessi and Jordan's marriage. So with that being said, there's just a lot of chaos going on at the Vanderpump Villa. And now DadTok is going to Vanderpump Villa. So it just kind of leaves the question of, why are they doing this? Like, what's going on? So Jordan decides to announce at the Sip and See party that DadTok got invited to Vanderpump Villa. You can easily see all the tension, all the worry in the women's faces. They're just like, oh, why? What? Michaela's like, what opportunity do you need to go to Vanderpump Villa? I think everybody is just concerned of, okay, great. Like, we don't need a whole repeat of what happened when Mom Talk went there. Obviously, it seemed to be like there's temptation going on. Just doesn't seem like a good vibe for married people to be there. The people are playing truth and dare. There's good looking young people and you're drinking. Just a bad situation all around. And it just seems, I don't know, it just seems very much like Jordan is excited to do this because, like, oh, okay, you went to Vanderpump Villa. All of that happened. Now it's my turn to go to Vanderpump Villa. And who knows what could happen? You know what I mean? Kind of just like, is it to get back at Jessi? Is that what the whole purpose of this is? But I will say, Whitney and Connor, they say no. Whitney's like, there is no room for that. There's no reason. Like, there was so much chaos and hurt and mistrust, like all that happened. Why would you want to put yourself in that position? Which I totally understand that take on it. It's like, why even immerse yourself into that? It just doesn't seem good. Like nothing good comes out of it. However, I do find it hilarious because Jen pushes Zach to go because she's like, no, I need you to go because I need you to get the tea. I need you to fill me in, which I got to be kind of honest. Like, I feel like I would be the same way. I'd tell my husband, I'd be like, okay, no, you have to go because I need you to tell me every single thing that is happening. Jen's like, I trust Zach. I don't think anything's going to happen. I'm not even worried about it. He does so much for me and supporting me. Like, go have fun. But, in return, you got to tell me every single detail. And I 100% think that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, no, you got to go because I need to know everything that's going down. So yeah. So also with that, Jordan announces that Dakota is going to Dakota is not at the sip and see, but he makes it known that Dakota is going and, Taylor, oh yeah, you can just see it. It's written all over her face. She is not pleased. She is not thrilled at all. And she's like, oh, of course he's going. Of course he's going. He's probably going to be with everybody there. And yeah, she's not excited. At first, I think she was kind of like, oh, like that's funny. DadTok's going. Oh, Dakota's going. Of course. Of course. But anyways, so it doesn't take long for them to, DadTok heads to Vanderpump Villa. We have no idea what's going on. We weren't there. The girls aren't there. All the girls are they are on the edge of their seat trying to figure out like what is going on. Just tell me something I need to know. We got to figure it out. So you have Macy. She is calling Jacob. She's trying to get the intel, like what is going on. And these husbands, they are just like, oh, because none of them necessarily want to be the one to tell the news or tell anything of what's going on. Because at the end of the day, okay, let's think about this here. At the end of the day, Dakota is single. It's not like he's with Taylor. Taylor's not with Dakota. At the end of the day, Dakota is single. So does he have the right to do what he wants to do? However, I think it kind of is just viewed differently because I think Taylor views it as something of, oh, you're doing this because you want to get back at me for, I don't know, maybe going on the Bachelorette. Like this is known at this point in time that she's going to be the next Bachelorette. So that is just kind of a big question mark of like, what's your intentions of going? Like, are you truly wanting to go because it's an opportunity, or is it just an opportunity to get back at Taylor and then just do things that ultimately are going to upset me? So yeah, it's kind of just a sticky situation. And him being there with all of DadTok, who are married to women that are friends with Taylor, it just kind of, it's like a waterfall effect of, okay, Taylor probably will ultimately find out about this. Does she have the right to be upset? I don't know. But when you look at it from a lens of like, okay, are you going out of your way to go there to make her upset? Or is it just something that kind of happened? You know what I mean? So Macy, like I said, she is calling Jacob, begging for information. What's going on there? Tell me something. He swears up and down nothing is going on. But Macy and Michaela, they pretty much call it. They're like, oh, you're lying. Like, there's no way. Like, he didn't do anything, like nothing. And he's just like, no, I don't know. Like, I don't know. He didn't do anything. And even further, the boys are sticking strong. Like they're holding in this pact that they made together because Layla, she goes and picks up Chase and Mason from the airport. And, of course, she's questioning them. She wants to know everything that's going on. And the dudes are giving her absolutely nothing. They are so quiet. They're like, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was good. Good time. Nothing happened. No. I don't know. So it's just hilarious. Like these guys, I don't know what, like, if they did some sort of like blood oath, but they aren't saying a word. But, it kind of changes quickly because they end up going over to, well, sorry, let me backtrack. Chase and Mason aren't there. Neither is Dakota or Taylor. So it feels more of like a safe group of people to kind of like, all right, like now maybe we can all sort of tell what's going on a little bit. But they go over to Jessi and Jordan's, and that's when the reveal of Dakota had hooked up with some girl and kissed 3 girls simultaneously, which that's pretty crazy. But all right, I need to take a little halftime and I need to grab some snacks because I need you to grab some snacks too. I don't know. I'm a huge snack person. Okay. I love a snack. But this next part might cause a little controversy. So I just want to, in honor of my snack, which is Final Boss Sour, I want to call it my sour take. So I'm going to try some of this really quick. Okay. First of all, I need to talk about this because I love candy. I love sour candy. This is real fruit. So it's, yeah, there's like 3 ingredients in it. It's amazing. There's not all the artificial crap that's in it. They have different levels on how sour. I've done level 1 and level 2. I haven't tried it level 3 yet. So I want to try a level 3 sour strawberry. I'm nervous. All right. I'm going to just do 2. Oh, that's a lot. Scared. Mm. Oh my gosh, that is sour. Oh. Mm. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Mm. Okay. There's all other kinds of fruit. There's strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, kiwi, pineapple, and mango, I think. In each of those fruits, there's different levels. Like I said, I had not had a level 3 before, so that is sour. But it's just kind of nice because if you like sour candy, and then you can kind of make it healthier with it being real fruit. But woo, that is sour. Okay, all right. So for my sour take, I'm going to bring up something that seems to be a very unpopular opinion based on all the comments I've been seeing on some of our memes. But are you ready for this? I don't hate the screen time that DadTok has gotten so far. Okay, don't stop listening. I know. Hear me out. But I mean, come on. They're tied to all the drama with the women, okay? Like their husbands and boyfriends, like, to mom talk. So I feel like they kind of play a crucial role. Obviously, I know, like, we love the women. We love their drama and like what's going on with them. And I just think they kind of give a little bit of comedic relief, which you really do need because these women are going through a lot. They're very vulnerable. They're talking about all their struggles, all their hardships and the things that they're going through. And these men, like, I know the whole point of it is of just like empowering women, like letting them, they could be the breadwinner, they can be moms and own businesses and do all these fun things. But like at the end of the day, like, that's their husband, they married them, like they are part of their lives. And so I don't find it ridiculous to have them have screen time. Like, I think it's hilarious that they did a DadTok, like they're just kind of playing off of it. And I think they're very well aware that they wouldn't be here today. They wouldn't be getting all this limelight and attention if it wasn't for Mom Talk. I feel like they are fully aware and supportive of that. So I don't think it hurts to have them on the screen. And again, here's another thing too. Like, we can talk about it. Like, I'll probably get into it a little bit later. I just want to talk about one other thing before I get fully into it. But with Dakota going on the DadTok trip to Vanderpump Villa, we're not getting where we're having the DadTok, like them having the conversation. Like, we're missing a whole other section of what's going on in the show. Again, like, they all tie together. I think they do play an important part of it. Do I want it to ever be like Secret Lives of Mormon Husbands? No, but I do feel like their scenes are crucial and they bring some comedic relief. I know that's very unpopular for whatever reason. I don't think they're trying to take over the show. I don't think they're trying to do anything like that. I think they're just being asked of like, okay, expand on this situation. Like with Jessi and Jordan, they're obviously going through a lot. So they're going to bring Jordan of like, okay, so tell us your perspective, like what's going on. Anyways, that's just my sour take, if you will. And I had to get that out there. But so, Dakota, he's obviously doing whatever he's doing, he's doing what he wants to do. It does not matter. But, so is Taylor. Like, obviously we know she's going on the Bachelorette, but she has this new TikTok crush. And we don't know his name at the time, but she's telling Jessi, like, Jessi visits Taylor at her new house. She's helping her unpack, get organized and all this stuff. And, Taylor kind of drops the bomb of like, ooh, like I kind of have a new crush. Like she discovered him on TikTok, like going through her For You page. I guess he popped up on TikTok live. And she like commented in the live of like, oh, because I guess he's a musician. I don't know too much about him. I tried to do some research and he just seems like a very chill guy. His name is Ben Lambert. He's just like a TikToker, does vocal and guitar covers and some of originals. So I guess she commented on it and was like, "Hey, can you play this?" And so he ended up DMing her and like they messaged back and forth. But yeah, so she's like all giddy about some guy named Ben and the girls are hyped. They're like, "Okay, thank you. Like we're so excited that she's like finding people that she's excited about to help move on from Dakota." This is like a little pre-Bachelorette warm up, like a little like I don't know, kind of get it going, get her some practice. But so I mean, she invites him to Utah and she goes and picks him up at the airport. This is the first time they're meeting in person, is her picking him up from the airport, which I gotta say, like, that girl is so brave because I would never do that. Not saying of just like, oh, I would never do that. Meaning like I would be so nervous that like I don't like awkward interactions. Like back in my single days, like never wanted to go on a date because like it's just so uncomfortable, It's like, what if it just goes wrong? Like it's just, and not even about the whole of like, oh, like they could be like a serial killer or something. It's more of just like, oh, like I just hate an awkward small talk conversation. So for her to just straight up be like, oh yeah, like come visit me, I'll come pick you up. And this is their first meeting. Crazy. But again, I guess to the girls' points, this is some great Bachelorette practice and warm up. But anyway, so she goes and picks him up. It doesn't take long. The girls are like, all right, we're coming over. We're meeting this Ben kid. He is well aware, keep in mind, he is well aware that she is about to be on The Bachelorette, not just going on it as The Bachelor, but The Bachelorette. And yeah, like they are like, all right, we need to go ask him what's like his intentions. What does he do? What's your job? What's your thoughts on her being on The Bachelorette? It's really funny. He does kind of look similar to Dakota. So everyone's like, "Oh, okay, like, okay." But he just, I don't know. My vibe, cuz my thoughts were, okay, is he a clout chaser? Cuz like that's so quick too to also not really know a person and be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just go get on a flight and go visit you." Also too, she would have to disclose that, she's in the middle of filming. So it's like, "Oh, okay, like just so you know, like, yeah, sure, you can come and visit me for the first time, but also too, like, you're going to be on a huge, huge reality show. So I hope you're good with getting mic'd up, all this, meeting all my friends." So I am kind of curious. Like, I mean, again, I don't know much about him. So obviously he hasn't like blown up on the internet, but, and it doesn't seem like any like bad situation happened between those two. But it was kind of just like, okay, like if you're interested in Taylor, like what is your true, like, are you interested in Taylor or are you just interested in the opportunity to advance yourself? But it doesn't matter. Like they don't need me because the girls there, like they're on it. They're going to ask him all these questions and be like, all right, what's the, what's the vibe going on here? He mentioned that he got fired. So Michaela's like, oh, great. Like that's what a winner. I don't think the girls were too impressed. I don't think they really had anything negative to say about him. Like, wasn't like, oh, this guy is just completely bad news. So good for him. But I think they knew like, okay, like this isn't going to be Taylor's person, but they're just like allowing it. It's like, okay, like he seems like a decent guy for this little, limbo time before she gets on The Bachelorette and to kind of clear her mind away from Dakota. So we'll just see. But that's really all that we know from that. But it's just, again, funny because it's like, okay, Dakota's, he's doing his thing. Taylor's doing her thing, but those two just can't handle either one of them going and doing anything different. But, so there's lots of relationships that need mending and clarity on how to move forward. What are we going to do about it? So we move to Demi and Jessi and their reconciliation, and they, meet up. And so Jessi's kind of explaining to Demi about, Jordan's time at the Vanderpump Villa. And, she mentioned like, oh yeah, Jordan ended up having conversations with Marciano. and just kind of letting Demi know, like, all right, like, I apologize a lot, for the whole Jessi situation. And I know that was your wife or is your wife, and that's your marriage and everything. But he was doubling down on the Demi story, like saying that that all happened. And even apparently I love yous were exchanged, which was news to Demi. She was like, oh, like that's news. Like I didn't know that. And so it's just really interesting because, I really just don't think we will ever know what fully happened between those two. But again, I don't think the meetup between Jessi and Demi was really of like, oh, I want you, like, listen to what Marciano said. Like he's doubling down. It was more so of like, oh, here's just an update. Like, let me just tell you. But I want us to reconcile our friendship. Like, we've been very rocky. And obviously, we were so close. Like, how can we move forward? How can we move past this? So, Jessi, she's been very open about the fact that she's been in therapy, not only for herself, but for her marriage. And it's been really helping for her and therapeutic. No pun intended. But Jessi's in therapy. And so she suggests, like, what if they do a joint therapy session? Like, you come over, we can just do some, because their friendship they were very close, and it was important for Jessi to work on that with Demi. And so yeah, but thankfully for Jessi, Demi was very open about that. And she yeah, she was open to doing so. So Jessi invites Demi over to her house to have a therapy session. She's trying to make it all comfy cozy. Jessi is such a host. Like you can just tell her house is so beautiful. I know she has a new home now, but just such a host. Like she's like making popcorn. But I do think it's kind of funny because that popcorn burnt. So was that kind of like an omen? Was that a sign? Probably, I don't know, because it just did not end up going the way that I think Jessi envisioned it for them. So, they have their therapist there, and she sits the girls down. And for Jessi, this is really like the opportunity for for Demi to be truthful, like come clean, or, just be honest. And so they can really dive down for all the hurt that's been going on. And Demi doesn't really seem like, at least from Jessi's perspective, again, because this is all alleged, like I'm not claiming anything. So this is just all from like the perception of the episode. So for Jessi, Demi is not taking ownership the way that she would have liked her to. And the therapist kind of calls out, because I guess, she has worked with Demi in the past on other things. And she basically just kind of calls her out in spots like, okay, Demi, like this seems to be kind of like a pattern of like emotional cheating. Like, do you think that's kind of like, is that the same pattern that we're falling into, like with this? And Demi is very much like, oh, yes, like I understand of the emotional cheating, but not with Marciano. Like, that is not what happened here. That is not the case whatsoever. She's very adamant that that was not what it was with Marciano. And this immediately, I think, is where it just really turns the wheels for Jessi of, okay, I just don't think this is going to work. Like she's very alarmed because Jessi states that Demi off camera admitted that she did have an emotional affair, or there was emotional cheating going on with Marciano. But now that the cameras are on, it's being filmed, and there's this therapist asking and saying like, do you think that that's what happened? Demi is very much like, no. Like, I understand what you're talking about, the pattern of emotional cheating, but with Marciano, that was absolutely not the case. So we obviously know that that didn't go well because we know that they are not speaking. Like, she says that there is no future friendship with Demi. I mean, we even see, things like that she's talking about now, just postseason interviews. And she's like, no, me and Demi, there's no possibility. So I think for Jessi, this opportunity of therapy for at least like their friendship, it was more of just like, I just, you admitted something to me. Like, I just want you to be honest. Like, how can we move forward and rebuild our friendship if you can't even just admit like that to the therapist of something that you've already admitted to me? Like, I'm watching you in real time tell the therapist that that didn't happen, but you told me that it did. So it's like, how can we even move forward or integrate you back into mom talk full time. Like, it's not going to work. So I think that was really just had more weight than what I think Demi realized. Like, I think Jessi was really making notes and being like, all right, that kind of told me everything that I needed to know on if I even need to keep trying to move forward. But back in just like confrontational conversation. So as I mentioned on whenever I was talking about my sour take on how we need dad talk in a sense for certain storylines, this one will be a great example. So it's the dinner confrontation. You know, it's with Dakota, Chase, Mason, Jordan, all of them, and they're talking about like post Villa. And, you know, if we didn't have like more dad talk situations, we wouldn't be able to see these conversations and perspectives and POVs of, again, the storylines that we're already learning about. I think that's, sorry, I just want to add one more thing. I think that's what is important about dad talk. It's not like it's really sub storylines. Like, for example, like, let's just say, I'm just making up something. Okay. It's like, let's just say Zach's wanting to like start some side business. It's not like we're going off and that's a whole storyline. Like, we're like, oh, okay, Zach, tell us about your business. Like, what do you want to do with it? Yada, yada, yada. The dad talk screen time, I feel like, is either where it's something of with their wives, supporting their wives, or it has a storyline that is involving the wives or ex-girlfriends or whatever. So anyways, I'll stop rambling, but we're at this dinner and it gets heated really quickly because Dakota learns that, you know, Jordan told his wife, Jessi, about everything that happened at Vanderpump Villa. And Dakota is like, dude, what is going on? And Chase calls Jordan out for leaking all the information to Jessi because he's like, dude, you know, Jessi's not going to not say anything. Like, the girls are going to find out. Taylor's going to find out. And Chase is like, I want you to apologize. I want you to take accountability. Like, and which also too, I don't know. I'm a huge Office fan. I love comedy. I love references. And Chase, you know, he says, oh, how the effing turntables, which is an Office reference. So little things like that I find hilarious. So I guess some things are certain like niche, but that's where I can appreciate dad talk coming in. But anyways, I just, yeah, you can just see like Dakota is nervous about Taylor finding out all this information. But is he that's where I get confused because, you know, that's kind of like the whole thing. It's like, does Dakota do these things to upset Taylor? Or is it like he just wants to do it and keep it internally? Like, he knows he's doing these things to upset Taylor. He doesn't necessarily want Taylor to find out, but it's like, okay, and again, all alleged. It's like, okay, I know Taylor's going out onto the Bachelorette. That upsets me. Well, I'm going to go to Vanderpump Villa. Do I want her to necessarily know what I'm doing there? No, but I'm just going to do it because internally, like, it's going to make me feel good that I'm doing something that would make her upset had she know. But I don't actually want her to know. You know, does that make any sort of sense? I hope it does, because you could just see like Dakota's freaking out. Like, he does not want Taylor to find out. But you know, Jordan's like, I'm not like Taylor, like, is not going to find out. Taylor won't know. Like, I just told Jessi, like, that's my wife, which to Jordan's point, I get that, because let me just say, I would be so pissed if my husband didn't tell me something. If I asked you like, okay, what's going on? Like, what happened with XYZ? And he just kept it. I think there's just so many like gray areas, because it's like, you know, I feel like Chase is very much like bro code. Like, you weren't supposed to say anything. Like, we all had this pact. We weren't going to say anything. It's like none of their business. Like, they don't need to know. But, you know, Jordan, he's working on his marriage with his wife. Like, they are really trying to work through things. She's coming to him like, tell me this, like, what happened here? And if he lies to her, you know, like, it's just so muddy. It's like, I feel like you can't really get mad at Jordan for that. It's like, I get it. You like, why would you tell on your boy? But, you know, at the end of the day, Dakota, you're single. So it's not, you know, you can do what you want. But two, if you don't want somebody to find out, like, if you're so worried about it, then don't do it. Don't put yourself in those situations. You know, I mean, I understand with Jordan, like, that's his wife. She's asking him the question. He's not going to lie to her. Like, and for Dakota, it's like, you didn't necessarily do anything wrong. At the end of the day, you didn't do anything wrong. But also, too, if you're so worried about Taylor finding out, don't do it. You know what I mean? Anyways, so this all kind of spirals very quickly because sure, Jordan, he promises his silence to Dakota of like, I'm not going to say anything to Taylor, but of course, Jessi knows. So we move fast and furious. So Taylor, she's coming over to Jordan and Jessi's because they are getting ready for the reunion, which again, I think I mentioned this. And it's just interesting, like the timeline of things, because now that we're seeing this perspective of situations that are going on, it makes the reunion make so much more sense because there was so much passion and so much heated, like you could just feel how tense everything was. And with, Dakota being like, I'll go out on stage, but not if the girls are there. All of this is just like fresh when they're going to film the reunion. So anyways, you see Taylor, she's going over to Jessi and Jordan's because she's trying to find her look, get ready for the reunion, like try on dresses, like kind of progress and all of that. Very quickly, like Taylor wastes no time. She asks Jordan directly, like straight up, like, hey, did Dakota hook up with anybody? I have to say Jordan's response was hilarious to me because he goes, no. And then Jessi's like, oh, Jordan, like, eh. So I'm not confirming or denying anything. I'm not gonna say yes or no or whatever. He just like backpedals. But Jessi's like, come on, you gotta like tell her, like whatever. Like to be honest, that alone just tells you right there. It's like, okay, you already know. Like you say no, just trying to like not even. Then you're like, well, I'm not gonna confirm or deny to try to like find the loophole of not lying to her. But like clearly doing that, you already answered the question. It's like obviously something happened. So at that point, you either should have just said, I'm not confirming or denying anything. Like you're not getting anything out of me because one way or the other, like I'm just no. But you answered it with no first. You got the reaction out of Jessi. So like that alone, like you're already spilling the beans right there. So it was just, I don't know. I just kind of found it funny because I was like, oh my God. And then Taylor's sitting there and she's just like, what? Like, tell me right now. Like, I need to know. Like, if you're not going to tell me, somebody else is going to tell me. Like, tell me. And Jessi's like, I'm not going to lie to her. Like, this is all happening in front of Taylor. So it's like, all right, the answer is clear. Like, something happened. I just need to know what. I need to know details. So I just found it. I was like, oh, like it was just such a hard watch. So you can see like Jessi calls it out. Like, she's like, yep, like something happened. And you see Taylor just so upset and like seeing her cry and just kind of like trying to catch her breath and just being so distraught over it. It was just so heartbreaking and like really hard to watch. And, it was a really sweet moment. Like Jordan hugs Taylor and just is like, I'm just so sorry. Cause, again, I feel like it's kind of going back to, I feel like it's hard. You're putting your friends in all these positions of like, okay, we're going on this trip. I'm a single guy. I can technically do what I want, but I don't want any of you to spill what I'm going to do. And then you have these married men that are, their wives are asking them what they're going to do. So it's like, okay, wait, do I have to do bro code or do I lie to my wife? You're putting them in this position of like, oh, I have to keep this from somebody. Like I have to keep this from my wife. Well, I'm not going to do that. That's my wife. And then, you're having your friend asking you the question of like, okay, what did my ex do? What did my baby daddy do? And like, they're then put in the position of like, okay, well, I can't lie to you, but also like this information isn't going to make you happy, but obviously like you want to know, it's like, it's so confusing. It's so messy. It really kind of like punches you in the gut when you're watching it. It's just like, you just feel like you feel sick to your stomach of just like seeing how upset she is. Like, and then seeing Dakota being like, oh, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm single. I can technically do what I want, but I don't want her so upset. It's just so messy. But dare I say, it's very entertaining and I am glued to my TV screen. So like, I want to know more. And, but I'm right there with her. Like, I can't even fault Taylor because I know I would be the same exact way. And I would be the same exact of like Jessi and the girls of like, I need to know this information, but I can't keep it from my friend either. But all it's going to do is just upset her. But if she wants to know the information, okay, But like I said, I'm hooked. These first 2 episodes, it sucked me in. Episode 3, that preview of Taylor calling Dakota to confront. Like, one thing I love about Taylor is she is not scared of confrontation. She will figure it out in a heartbeat. So I'm so looking forward to discussing that. But yeah, like she's just like, tell me right now. She wants to know details. She wants to know it all. And she'll put you on speaker and she will make you feel like crap for it. But And you have Jessi sitting there just like, oh, so it's going to be a great season. I'm so excited. I mean, I kind of hate saying like, oh, I'm so excited. And like, I'm seeing all these people in their relationships and vulnerability and you can see all like the hurt, but like they give us entertainment and they do it at the expense of, having to be vulnerable and exposing themselves. And I can appreciate that. But yeah, well, this was really fun, you guys. On the next episode, I'm going to be going over episodes 3 and 4. And I'm sure we will have so much more to talk about. I mean, just the preview alone, there'll be tons to dissect. So I hope you're ready for it. And I hope you had so much fun. If there's anything that I missed going over and that you would like me to kind of do a quick recap on the next one, please let me know. I'm more than happy to. I tried to really make sure I kind of gave the lore on things and all the major things that really stuck out to me. But I had so much fun dishing with you all. So don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and follow us for more reality content on Instagram and TikTok at the.drama.drop. I love you all. Thank you.